Will you please confirm if the screen is visible?
It is sharing, ma'am.
Yes, yes. Thank you. Okay, so as Sir has introduced that I'll be doing one of the subtopics of the academic leadership, governance and management. That is the sub-theme 2, that's institutional development plan. So going ahead with this, we have academic leadership, governance and management. You have the leadership which is critical for any institution to develop on its mandate. The leadership drives key initiatives and mechanisms for the performance excellence of any institution. So one should have a good leadership in order to make everyone follow what you would like them to do, and this is how everyone can work together as a team and the performance will be excellent. So you have it in an either academician or you can have an administration who can be a leader, and you can have various departments having various leaders also. So this can create conditions that I can either make or break the institute. So one has to make a very good decision and preferably in accordance with your team. So, taking feedback from your team, you know exactly what you have to do, and accordingly, you can make the institute. Otherwise, one wrong decision, and that will be the end of it. For effective decision making and exhibiting leadership skills, it's crucial to gain training and enhance one's capacity. So, one should not be satisfied with what one already has. One should always go on and upgrade oneself. So, there should always be this yearning to learn. So, you always have a lifelong learning. Governance and management are both related to administrative changes as well as overall institutional development. So we want always our institution to develop better and better, more and more. Hence, equipping with the leadership with the right attitude, skills, and knowledge, that is important. Okay, so the roadmap for planning vision, mission, and goals of an institute are in alignment with the NEP 2020. So this is a very important step that's required. In order to have an institution development plan, you should also have your vision and mission towards the same. Will guide the governing bodies of an institute to devise immediate goals as well as envision the next years of an institute. So when we say immediate goals, it doesn't have to be a goal which is right now, and in next year doesn't have to be 2027. So we are saying next years as in from now onwards, whatever decision you have to take, you have to see that your goals are met, and then you will have your vision enhanced and your vision will be complete. A guide for the key work areas of the workforce for the higher education institute can be either on short-term basis, mid-term basis, or long-term basis. So the IDP is at its fulcrum of the achievement of a successful of this parameters of the institution. So we have in 2023 there was this in an interview with the previous chairperson of UGC, Dr. Jagdish Kumar. He had highlighted that it outlines the long-term vision, mission, and the objectives and the strategies that are required to achieve the goals. By adopting this IDP plan, all higher education institutions can achieve effective functioning, growth, and also sustainability, since it provides a roadmap for success and improves the resource management and also fosters a culture for accountability and continuous improvement. So over here, this was required because the UGC had started the guidelines for the higher education institutes to start off this institution development plan for not only faculty but also for students. So this came from the NEP 2020 across all the higher educations to boost the productivity and also the innovation in not only teaching but also in learning practices too. Okay. So what do these new IDP guidelines propose? So we have this in facilitating a wide transformation of the existing curricula, what is happening right now, and also the teaching learning methods. This new guideline had a proactive attempt to also have the academia and also for the research too. So the first thing is the physical restructuring of the campuses. So here we had to see that all the infrastructure had to be improved. Also, not only with the infrastructure also between the academia, the research, the outreach, the cultural, the operational activities, all effective communication had been done between all of these. Also between these academia and research, we also had to have the extracurricular activities for artistic expression, originality, how there could be a focus also on healthcare and also of well-being centers. Besides this, you also have the shift of digital methods. So from the normal manual methods, it had to come to digital methods. So the quick decision making that had to be taken, the roadmap for embracing ICT tools, virtual technologies. So this is all the criteria for moving towards a digital university. Next thing was to seek external funding. So the draft of the HEI had to identify and also prioritize what the funding sources could be, how they could get more income into the institution. So this was either through government grants, through alumni donations, to fundraisers, to private sector partnerships, through campaigns. So there had to be some side of establishing sustainable revenue strategies that incorporated tuition fees, government grants, and somehow of endowments, CSRs, some kind of getting this intellectual property royalties, some kind of patents to be done. So somehow to get the external funding. Finally, the realignment of the existing curricula. So you have the different national bodies like the National Education Policy, the framework, the National Higher Education Qualification Framework, National Skill Qualification Framework. There were different frameworks that were required. They could match the curricula to these. Also, equipping the students with modern skills like upskilling themselves, reskilling themselves, learning a new skill. This would help in training the students or even the faculties with the capacity building too. Okay, so these guidelines would mark an important step in the transformation of the whole institute, not only the faculty, and also this would lead to success by promoting resource management and fostering a sense of continuous improvement also. Okay, so the key elements, of the good IDP vision and mission would be actually clear and concise. When we say clear and concise, we have to see that your vision and mission has to be very understandable. It should be known, it should be having simple understanding of what is existing. It should be concise. When we say concise, it has to be short. It should be memorable such that everyone can know what you're talking about. It should use simple language. It should also be very not running into paragraphs or anything like that, so that everyone will know exactly what you are understanding and what is required. Besides that, you have ambitious and inspiring. So it should be some kind of way that you would like everyone to be a part of it. Everyone would say, yes, I would like to be a part of this, because it is for these reasons there is a good view in the case of what the vision and mission is going to be. Measurable and achievable. So you should be able to measure what you are doing and exactly how you want to go ahead with it. It's also be achievable. It shouldn't be something which is imaginary, that is not going to exist, and then you will just know what exactly is to be done. Okay. Then it should align with your institutional values. You have to see that whatever you are doing, it has to be aligned with what your institution is dealing with it. So it shouldn't be something that is not accounted for, and it should be out of immorality. It should be having good moral values and it should have good ethics. Okay, so these are the key elements of a good IDP vision and mission. So coming to the institution development plan, we have a strategic blueprint to align the HAIs with NP 2020 goals. It should also focus on the governance, the quality, the innovation and inclusivity. It should also emphasize on autonomy, accountability and flexibility. So you have to have a blueprint exactly what you want to do, which it has to match with other HAIs and with the NEP 2020 goals. So this is something what we want the institution to become. So that is why we require the institutional development plan to exist. So what can you see in the picture if you have a look at this right now? I hope I'm still audible to everyone.
Yes, ma'am.
So anybody can tell me what is there in the picture?
Multidisciplinary institution.
Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else?
Participant, kindly switch on your cameras. How much of you are with us? Kindly switch off your cameras. I'm sorry for the interruption.
That's okay. Okay. In any case, I hope you all can see there are lots of buildings around the place because there are going to be many different disciplines. As said, there's a multidisciplinary institute. This idea is to attract a large number of students to the institute so that they can choose different disciplines and they can have a different combination of what they would like, and that would be all in one campus. And this campus is a green campus, if you all have noticed also. Okay, so I hope everyone is here with me because I don't hear many participants coming online here. Okay, so institutional restructuring and consolidation. So the idea is the main thrust of this policy is higher education is to end the framework of the higher education by transforming higher education institutes into large multidisciplinary universities and aiming to have 3,000 or more students. So this will have a good communication between scholars and also peer. There will be lots of peer-peer learning, and this will break down the harmful silos and also enable students to become well all-rounders. So not just only in academics, but also in artistic or creative or even analytical subjects also like sports. So this will develop their all-rounder and also have cross-disciplinary research too. So not only in academics, not only teaching, but also doing research. So there could be increase of resource material, both material and human across the education. Next is to move to multidisciplinary institutes and higher education clusters. This will become the highest recommendation of the policy. So we used to have the ancient universities like Takshashila or Nalanda or Vikramshila, which had thousands and thousands of students from various parts of India studying in multidisciplinary institutes like these. And in this environment, there was great success that the large multidisciplinary research and the teaching also of the university could bring. So India needs to bring back this a great Indian tradition of having well-rounded and innovative individuals. So making them well-rounders, we have to get back to the large multidisciplinary institutes. So research intensive universities and teaching intensive universities. So before we used to have just colleges or private colleges or so. So now the trend is to get to become a teaching intensive university or a research intensive university. When we say teaching intensive or research intensive, it doesn't mean focusing only on one or the other. Research intensive means there is more focus on research and less focus on teaching, but both do go hand in hand. Teaching intensive means there is more focus on the teaching and less focus on the research. Whereas when you have an autonomous degree college, granting college, the autonomous college means that the multidisciplinary institution of higher learning would grant undergraduate degrees, and also it would focus on the undergraduate teaching also, but not restricted to be only that. It could be like a typical smaller university. Okay, so a stage-wise mechanism would be granting the autonomous to the colleges through a transparent system. So then they have to see that over time they would have the guidelines required, and then they could go into or also evolve into a research intensive or also a teaching intensive university if they wish to do so. Okay. It also should be clear that in these three broad areas that we have, it could be either rigid or it could be not necessary, but it could also be a continuum within them. So the higher education institutes could have the autonomy or the freedom for moving from one to the other. You don't have to only stick with what you have right now. You could also think, okay, if I want to do more research, I can shift from teaching intensive to a research intensive, or I would prefer to be a autonomous college. Okay, so the accreditation system would develop and also use the appropriate different types of norms across the higher education institutes. In addition to teaching and research, other crucial responsibilities are also there, and this would also support the higher education system in various fields of practice and also in higher education and also in school education too. So by 2040, all the higher education institutes would aim to be multidisciplinary institutes with large number of students enrolled in more than 3,000 or so. But by 2030, that is still in another 4 years' time, the aim is to have multidisciplinary institutes. And that would attract the students to join the institutes. And so by 2040, the higher education institutes would have multidisciplinary nature and having a large number of students. So more and more higher education institutes would be established and also having full access to the inclusion. So by 2030, at least there would be one large multidisciplinary institute in or near every district. So the gross enrollment ratio in vocational or also education from 2018, which was 26.3, would then go to at least 50% by 2035. Okay. The growth in both the public sector and also the private institutions would have a strong emphasis on the large number of public institutions. So this will have a fair and transparent system for determining the increased level of public funding of the public higher education institutes. So this will have equitable opportunity for everyone to grow and develop, and it will also be transparent based on what the accreditation system is. Okay. So institutes would also have this ODL, the open distance learning, and also the online programs too. So everyone should have this yearn to learn and have lifelong learning. Okay. A single stream would be phased out in time, saying it's only a commerce college, it's only a science institution, it's only an arts institution. No. This would be phased out in time and it would become multidisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, or even interdisciplinary. So the single stream would have a combination of various different streams and that would have a multidisciplinary in nature. You have the new regulatory system of this policy would foster the overall empowerment of having affiliated colleges over a 15-year through a graded autonomy would be then in the challenge mode, how it would become. So they would have the necessary benchmarks required to become autonomous degree granting colleges. Okay. So overall, the integrated higher education system would include professional and vocational too, and this policy would also be able to be approached and have equal applicability in all higher education institutes in current streams. So something known like deemed to be university, affiliating technical university, unitary university would just be replaced by the term university. So you don't have all the different types of nomenclatures of higher education. You just have the basic university only written. Okay. So another question to everyone. Could anyone tell me what the foundation pillars of NEP 2020 are? Anyone here? Participants? I see 2 cameras on with no participants at their seats. Participants, are you all here with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Anyone has any idea what the foundation pillars of NEP 2020 are?
Madam, equity, quality.
Yes.
Equity and quality.
Okay. Any more? Anyone else would like to answer?
Accountability.
Okay. By the way, who's answering? Okay. Let me go for them. Okay. So as Sir was saying, that will come a little later. The other pillars we have first access or accessibility. So over here, students have to have access to education. They should have the high quality education accessible to everyone. Okay, students shouldn't be only to certain people, it should be for everybody. So regardless of what the background is, everyone should have an equal opportunity to have access to education. The next one is equity. Equity is fostering an inclusion environment that promotes equal opportunities to the disadvantaged groups, thus building the gender gap or even any other gap. So when we say equity, we don't mean to say it is equality. When you say, anyone has an idea what's the difference between equality and equity? When we say equity, equity to education. Okay. So equality is when you have same. Equity is when you are fair. Okay. So when you give the same features to everybody, the same basic education to everyone, that is equality. But when you're being fair about it, then it is known as equity. When you know that someone cannot study that much, you give more coaching to that student. That is when you're being equity. When you are teaching everyone equally in the class, that is when you have equality. But when you're fair, you're giving more to the person who is not be able to do so. That is when it is equity. Okay. Quality. Of course, you have to have good quality education given to the students. So quality, it should be having good, not only in education wise, infrastructure also should be good. The curriculum mentoring should be there, peer-to-peer learning with student support also. So you have good quality education given to the students. So you have to enhance them in even doing research or even having multidisciplinary research being taken place and giving so that the accreditation, whenever NAC body also comes, the quality would be good. Affordability, yes, it has to be affordable by all the students at a reasonable cost, but then you have to reduce the financial burden on the students. Okay, so you have to have affordability so that it has to be available to even someone who would find it difficult. So the affordability of education should be there. Finally, you have accountability. Accountability should be accountable to all the stakeholders, and you should see that there is established a clear governance, transparency in the system, and responsibility in the institutional management of the academic outcome. Okay, so the 5 ones are accessibility, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability. Okay. So the key areas of focus on the IDP are these as follows. We have the infrastructure and digital transformation. So here you have to develop a modern technology enabled and also sustainable infrastructure. So you have to try to have smart classrooms, smart labs. So it would be good for the students. Faculty development. As you are right now having this course, you are having many faculty development programs that you have been attending. So always see that the teacher has trained. Not only the teacher, you also have to have the non-teaching staff being trained. So always they have to invest in teacher training, capacity building, or even research and innovation too. Curriculum realignment. Over here, you have to have the shift towards outcome-based education and also multidisciplinary approach. Industry and community partnership, strengthening ties with an industry for employability and also engaging in social responsibility, something like Unnat Bharat Abhiyan. So you have to have some kind of community partnership or even industrial partnership. Governance reform, so adopting something like some or similar systems would help in the administrative efficiency of the system. Okay, so you have right now, this is taken up from the UGC website. In the Institute of the Universities, you have the central, there are 57 central universities, 521 state universities, 157 deemed to be universities, 558 state private universities, 1788 autonomous colleges. So we have a diverse ecosystem over here which supports flexibility and innovation. So this would then to become the research intensive universities, the teaching intensive universities, and the non-autonomous colleges. Okay. So you have the institution autonomy and also accountability for it. You have to have a strong governance and participatory decisions. So good decisions should be taken in accordance with the other stakeholders. Quality enhancement via the accreditation and also the ranking. And you have to have lifelong learning ecosystem. So platforms should be there so that everyone can be a part of the system. There will be then global excellence with local relevance. So different designs of the HEIs could be a governance body. There could be the academic council, which would deal with the curriculum and assessments. The board of governors, which would have the strategic vision and the funding. The research and the innovation council, and also the student development cell. So the types of institutes, as we mentioned, this would be the research intensive university, the teaching intensive university, the autonomous colleges, and the professional colleges, law, medicine, management. Okay, there would be a flexibility and a mobility throughout also. You could shift from research to teaching, teaching to research intensive universities. The different national bodies, you have the UGC, that's University Grants Commission, right, for the funding, the coordination, the standards and qualities. You have the AICTE, which is the All India Council for Teaching Education. You also have the other agencies of the teaching and education, the NCTE, agriculture in education, the ICAR, the medical institution, that's the NMC or the MCI, and the pharmacy education, PCI. In state level institutes and the interrelationship, you have the state higher education councils, the state accreditation bodies, the university senates or the senates, and the linkage between the national agencies. In case of quality framework in higher education, the academic standards, performance, and learnings would focus on the outcome-based education, the competency-based curricula that is designed, the innovation and the skill integration, and of course, the global collaboration. So you can have a collaboration with other education institutes too. So for setting agencies, we have the same as national bodies, would be dealing with the model curriculum, the credit framework, the technical standards, and the sector-specific ones. Accreditation frameworks, you have the NAC, who assesses and grades institutes. You have the NBA for program-specific accreditation. In case of ranking, you have the NIRF, which deals with the teaching, research, outreach, perception of the framework, ranking them. You also have the global rankings of Shanghai, QS, and TH. World-class universities and NEP 2020 vision, you have to have the multidisciplinary nature with excellence in research. Also, global collaborations would do well also in the funding scenarios, and the flexible curricula also would help the student decide what cross-disciplinary one would like to take in interdisciplinary or multidisciplinary mode. They would also require to have lifelong learning opportunities so that the teacher also can get upskilled and reskilled in different disciplines. Over here, for this, you have to have online platforms for the skilling, upskilling, and reskilling. You have different types of platforms, the Swayam, the NDL, Coursera, or even the iGod Karma Yogi. The credit transfers could be there. You could even stack your credits. Industry partnership for work integrated learning could be there. And that brings us to the main objectives and the goals to be achieved by the IDP. So to articulate a clear vision, you have to have the National Education Policy 2020, the NCRF, the SDG. You have to have the institution and the social objectives to be done. Besides this, you have to have assess the institution development that requires consultative processes. To identify the capacity of human, material, or financial ways, what are the organizational gaps that are occurring, and based on that, what are the goals and priorities. Next is to develop an annual activity plan or a capacity building plan to develop the capacity and remove the gaps. So you have to have an annual activity to know exactly what is there, what is missing, and what is there previously, what is there now, and what is missing in between, so that you can bridge the gaps. To establish a transparent system for holistic, inclusive growth and development of the higher education system by relevant tools required, technology and opportunities. So to work towards a digital technology and to ensure that this has an overall balanced growth. To establish the ethos of holistic lifelong learning and operative framework to provide better employability and entrepreneurship. So you have to see that there is a learning of skills that are not existing maybe in your institute. So you are providing that possibility of online learning and also giving the opportunity to have maybe skill development program and also having an employability such that the placement will be better for the students once they pass out, and you have some kind of internship in some certain semesters so that you also build some bridge with the industry so that there will be a chance for your students to get employabilities with the particular industry. Develop an operative framework to promote internationalization of education. So you have an exchange program of either students. You can also have an exchange program with faculty. You have a visiting professor from abroad coming to teach at your institute. You could go to institutes abroad to teach. So you have an exchange of faculty. You could also send your students to learn for 3 months or 6 months as an intern or even in a particular semester. To ensure meaningful engagement to all the stakeholders in the development and the implementation of its IDP. So exactly what is required in the institution, you could also check out, have a meeting, and then see which planning is required for your particular institute. To quantify the goals, you have to have time-bound targets. So you have to see that you have a time-bound target so that you can exactly see when you would like to have these plans developed and when you can finally reach your goals and then undertake the same. To undertake periodic reviews and appropriate measures for continuous course correction and also future improvements. So it's a good thing to actually check out with your colleagues the feedback and exactly what is there and take the corrections and then improve the system. I hope everything is clear till here. Participants, I hope everything is clear till here.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you. Okay, going further. We're coming to the Institute Development Plan. That's the major components. Okay, so there are altogether 8 major components. You have the governance enablers, you have the financial enablers and funding model. That's the resource generation. You have the academic enablers, the research and intellectual property enabler, the human resource and supportive facilitator enabler. You have the networking and collaboration enabler, the physical enabler, and finally the digital enablers. Okay, so I hope you all are here and you all are listening, because now is the time we are going to go into each one's different enablers. Okay. Okay, so going to the first one, we have the governance enabler. The first one is the board of governance. It's a senate or the syndicate. You has to be a fully functional board. It has to be majorly staffed and has to have different responsibilities and roles, and everyone has to be accounted for what they are responsible for. It also can involve the alumni as a major stakeholder. Next one is the quality assurance, which has to have well-defined processes, and these processes are capturing various aspects of governance. It should also have clear deliverables and also outcomes. What is going to be the outcome of this quality assurance? The financial autonomy would strive for self-sustainability and would also generate an external revenue source. Leadership would have effective leadership as strategic management. So you have to lay down what the objectives are and what are the targets. So knowing what is there, you can see what you're aiming for. So this comes to vision, mission, and roadmap. So you have to prepare the vision and mission statements such that you have to know what exactly you are looking forward to in your institute, and you have to have the roadmap to know exactly how you're going to get there. What is the lines? What's the direction to get there? So you have to have always planning. So planning of maybe a certain goal, in this time we have to complete this much, in this time we have to complete this much. For that, you have to have the various objectives also mentioned. So have a short term, mid term, or even a long term plan. So we have short term, that means we're having what is there existing within the next 2 to 5 years. In a mid-term plan, we're checking out to see what's going to exist in the next 5 to 10 years. And over 10 years, that would be a long-term plan. So always have a shared vision. When we say shared vision, we are looking at something where all stakeholders are thinking in the same direction. So it's not imposed, but it's something that everyone, you want to work in that same direction. And that would be a shared vision. So knowing what the feedback of everyone are, you can then decide how to prepare your vision document. So this has to have reliable consultants of who's going to do what thing and make everyone responsible for one particular department or a team. You have to also have close monitoring by the IT or the web-based system. And this would be like to finalize what the appropriate committee would do and how you can have what parameters. You could also ask the feedback from these particular sources, and UGC and AICTE also guidelines could be kept in mind. Okay, risk management analysis. For this, you have to have at least once in a year meetings with various insurance companies, representatives, and to check out what are the different risks that could take place. The risk does not have to be only in maybe legal. It could also be safety risks, financial risks, natural disaster risks, environmental risk, or even hazardous risks. So there are different types of risks that could exist, and you have to have that meeting to see what possibilities could exist and how we can overcome it. External advisory boards. So this could be members of, like, say, academia, industrialists, government officials, various bodies, and have an external advisory board. So these could meet up at least once every 6 months. So you could have also a student representative in to discuss what the possible problems exist. Student feedback. So here you have to have a methodology such that it has to be proposed by the faculty members, and everyone would know what is happening and how you can overcome what and how you can improve on it. So this should be taken on regular basis so that the improvements can be done faster. So this is all dealing with the governance enablers. Okay. Next we come into financial enablers and funding models. Over here you have the financial policies. So in the case of financial policies, we have to have the policies outlining what the different roles are and what are the responsibilities of each and every officer who is present in the finance department. So the action plans have to be carefully thought of, planned, so that you know exactly what and how the IDP is based on over here. So have clear ways of finding out what are the income sources, maybe through endowments, through CSRs, funding, to donations, to research project, to government research projects, or even through alumni too. And what are the sources of expenditure? Maybe on salaries, you're spending on some utilities, some maintenance of infrastructure. So have action plans for each. What is present in what's the budget for the first year? What's the budget for the second year? For the all 5-year planning that you all are doing, check out exactly how much is the budget and how you can split it. Also check out what the timeline is for the expenditure, for the income, exactly how, and keep a track of it. Also, you could keep separate accounts for recurring, separate accounts for non-recurring. So you would know exactly where the allocated fund is coming and how you're going to utilize the fund and how you're going to spend the fund. Okay, so not only for recurring, for non-recurring too. And someone has to keep an account for all this. So you could have an HOD for the same to keep a track of everything. Main sources of revenue. Now, you could have the revenue coming from the tuition fees of the students, through government grants, to subsidies, through consultant fees, through the patents that you are publishing. You could have royalties on that. You could also have it through your alumni. Okay. Having close liaisons with the Government of India, ministries, agencies, and fundings to external granting funding, you have more than 20 different ministries of Government of India offering research projects for HEIs. So apply for that and try to get the income in. Pro forma for the assistance could be procured from the ministries, and then you have the widening responsibility of writing grants for different appropriate sources, and also having research and development modernization to different SOPs that could exist. RG scheme in each department, you could have commercial utilization of existing facilities, and in each department you could have the lab equipment or the instruments available for the external agencies. So the strength can be decided and circulated in the newspapers, so you can see what exactly you require and have the consultancy done. You can also have funding by external funding agencies too. With the financial and investment committee, you have them responsible for decision making in investment of funds and purchasing various like securities that you could have bought and trying to get the income in for the institute. Staff provided for the financial service. So you could have not just a finance officer, you could also have a treasurer, you could have an assistant treasurer, you could have dedicated people like chartered accountants, other officers, the CIOs, that is the chief investment officer, the data entry clerks, very important, the other clerks also which are required. So staff should be also there so that you can give different responsibilities to the each one. Okay. Going to the next one, we have academic enabler. Here you have different courses catering to professional and future requirements. So you have to have a varied choice of relevant programs which have to have in-depth learning of students as per their interests, for their interests also, and have it as a multidisciplinary in nature. The curriculum should also be updated as per the industry requirements, because sometimes when you notice what you teach at the level of your institute might not be incompatible with what the industry is looking out for. So there is always some gap which is existing. So you have to first know what the industry wants and accordingly incorporate it in your curriculum. So always have your curriculum updated such that it can always cater with the changing environment of what the industry requires. And these programs would suit both your institute also and what the industry also requires. So have a linkage with the industry, have an internship or an apprenticeship with the program so that you can have your students also benefiting from the same. Curriculum embedded with employability skills. So you have to see that your students have good placements after they finish, not there's a course that you have taught them and there is no possibility of getting a job. So you need to focus on exactly how you're going to get this readiness, how you're going to employ avenues over here. So you have to add employability skills to the students such that they will know what the 21st century skills are, the ICT tools. they also get into digital literacy such that they know also analytical thinking, this quick decision making, or even adaptive thinking, so that they know exactly how it is in the 21st century. So they can also do some startups of their own. They don't have to actually depend on a particular industry. Okay, so going to the next point, you have curriculum embedded with skill enhancement courses. So you have to have some skill taught to them, so that maybe it could be some AI kind of skill, some drone technique, or some IoT technique, some 21st century digital skills wherever required, they can be taught. Curriculum embedded with emerging technologies to be integrated in future of the work. So again, this will have some artificial intelligence or machine learning type of technology, or some robot learning or virtual technology, or 3D printing or cloud computing. It could be some type of skills that they need to learn such that they are in with the times. So this future skills would be required to develop an emerging technological area, and they would have the changing type of nature of work. Center for Curricular and Life Skills Development. So this also has to be a fully staffed department such that they also can be the same for the different skill development. Faculty teaching staff. So you have to have qualified teaching staff, not only qualified and experienced, but you should also have this kind of moral values inculcated in them, and they should also have a regular upgradation of their knowledge. So regular refresher courses, or even new courses taught online could be done with the staff, so that they can focus on teaching that to their students, motivating their students to have the yearning for knowledge also, so that the students also try to do different courses also. So they have to be good role models to their students, and try to have new projects coming up where they can also get the students to collaborate with them. Center for Faculty Development. So have an exchange program within an internship with the across the industry to have different ideas being checked on. So learn from the best in the world. You have different platforms online. You can also have different ways of checking out what you are thinking, what one has thought about, one other one has thought about, and then compare, and then also have your faculty developed. Like the teaching staff, you also have the non-teaching staff, which not only be experienced, but also should have some basic qualification for the relevant posts. So a systemic plan in teaching, how you have different teaching plans, you can also teach your or train your non-teaching staff too. Session-wise teaching plans. Of course, you have to have different course materials which are required, or books also. So they could be e-books, or they could be books available in the library. Learning material like study books. You have to provide equal amount of books to everyone, such that they can be having as per the syllabus of the subject. So you have to have also question bank that could exist, to have a resource pool of different types of questions that could exist, so that as per the question paper. So this question bank could have a chance of asking questions out of the syllabus. They need not be just MCQs based on what is there, but it could be applicable type of questions also. Assignments also required. This could also refer to some term paper, some preparing questions for the question banks, where the students are encouraged to work more by answering the questions from the question bank, and then having it like an assignment, and then periodically submitting that assignment. So you have to have a time bound nature, such that there is a time where the student has to submit the same. Having just assignment submitted is not enough. You also have to have the assessment, so that there is something worth out of it. So have it assessed, and then this could be either in online mode, offline mode, or in blended mode. And the syllabus could not be only restricted to only one or the other. You could have it based on applicability too. Value added skills enhancement papers. So something which has skill development could be added in the papers, which would have employability probably with an industry or even with a professional person. So have a skill enhancement paper. Pedagogy. So pedagogy could be with a mix of traditional or even modern methods, And you could have use of technology, which should be encouraged, and it should be learner-centric, where it should not only be from teacher to student, but also from student learning and then coming forward with what ideas they have got through with it. So activities also to support overall development could be there in creativity, artistry, in sports, in music. It could be integrated in the core curriculum. Other activities of the learning, you could have the proper assessment and the weightage of the marks assigned. You could also have a development of additional skills by involving inculcating with what the design thinking is. And also it would mold a good character of the teams that you will have making, and the working skills also would be good. So have other activities also as part of learning. You could also have all-rounders, since you're not only dealing with teaching academics, but also with other skills too. You could also have a scheme of earn value learn for the students who are coming from financially weaker backgrounds. So this has a dual purpose. You're not only learning something, but you are also earning money to learn. So it gives the working skills to the students, not only the students from financial week, also the students from all the students, so that they can learn a new skill and also they can earn while doing so. So this would prevent the student from depending on the parent for pocket money also. You also have flexibility and multidisciplinary. So for this, you have the university can design and implement different UG, PG programs to suit the various students at various levels, and you could have a certificate program across the field. So opportunities to utilize the research and innovative thinking. The students could be encouraged to work either individually or also in a team. So this will improve the innovative ability for the students and their competency and the confidence. So academic support raises knowledge, skills, and attitudes to improve the confidence in the innovation. So you could organize some hackathons or some overseas exchange programs such that there is some competition and there is some innovation that is happening within your institution. International exposure. So in case of international exposure, you have collaboration with international companies, other international academic bodies. You can also have foreign faculty visiting you. You could go and visit and deliver sessions abroad. So you have an exchange of faculty. You could also organize some conferences, international conferences, such that your students or even your teachers could go and present your work abroad or in an international conference. You could also have international scholarships too. Okay, so that deals with the academic enablers. I hope it is clear till here. Could someone unmute and tell me? Participants, could you all tell me whether it's clear? We've just done governance enabler, financial enabler, and academic enabler. Okay, going to the next one, we have research and intellectual property enablers. So first dealing with is the quality research. So you have to take a student who has also a yearning for doing research. So that would also be good for yourself, so that you all are both thinking in the same lines of that particular maybe topic, or it could be an interdisciplinary nature. Have a large number of intake of students also, such that there is more opportunities to do research. Also have research as a part of your curriculum, so that there will be a necessity to do research. Have a lot of research projects such that you can start off different research with different number of participants, your students. Also, you could have a research with another faculty members, one being a PI, one being a co-PI. Research-oriented experienced faculty members would be ideal for research, because they would already have this interest in doing research and they are research inclined. So there wouldn't be this undertaking of basic applied research and also having a sustainable model done. API based faculty compensation. So the faculty should be encouraged to do research, and they should be compensated for it by saying, yes, your API score would go up, or you would get this many points for doing research. Yes, that is there. So the more number of research that one does, there is a more points accumulated, and there will be a healthy competition between all the faculties to say, yes, we would like to do better than the others by not putting anyone down, but by doing research maybe in collaboration also. Targeted research and collaborative research. So you have to have different disciplines. So it would be an interdisciplinary research being done, and you could publish papers or even file patents in the same. So you could also create IPRs as well as international brands. And depending on this, you have to see how you're going to approach this particular programs. More PhDs and postdoctoral research scholars. So the university must aim to have more research scholars within its capacity, and also have to appoint research professors who are maybe retired to have them supervising the research scholars. The university can also have a postdoctorate research such that you can maintain the PhDs, graduates, and have the ongoing research also. More faculty members with PhD. See that your present faculties who have not done PhD, to please see that they are doing their PhD, registered for PhD, and also completing it, so that you have more faculty members with PhD. Faculty encouraged to write for books or research publications, or even file for patents. So the faculty should be encouraged to publish papers, more papers, to write more books, or even to come up with some new innovations such that you can put a patent on it, and then you would get royalties towards it. So that's also income for your institute. More conferences, at least 2 conferences per year, per college, even per faculty. As many you can do about writing papers to publish in your conferences. Encourage not only the faculty, but also your research scientists and also your students to take part and to publish papers in your conferences. Student involvement in research. You can always employ a student as your project fellow or an assistant fellow, so that they can come up with more ideas and also help out in the research. Industry and institutional collaboration. So you have to have an industrial collaboration such that you know what the industry is doing and how the industry can help you also with your research, in case you do not have the necessary infrastructure or even the instruments required. University incubation centers. So for students who would like to start up their own companies after graduation, the university could offer these incubation centers to help them work on their ideas, and also be give them a startup to have their business planning, how it could be done. University publication through its own press. So university could start its own press to see exactly what they could start off to have faculties publishing in their own university journal. And this could be an online version or a digital one, which would have many publications in it. And there could be also a citation service that could be there in it also. Target patents for claiming of UG and PG projects. You have to set goals to see how your UG and PG students are there, how you can mentor them and supervise them to see that they can apply for different patents also. Faculty ranking annual system. So as we were saying in the API, having a healthy competition, having this faculty ranking system, the faculty are there in a winning spirit to see who would be there topping the system. So in the next year, if one has won it, you could always say that, yes, I can do better than you, and there will be a different system, a different faculty winning the system. Chief Technology Officer for research monetization. So there will be a chief officer who will be monitoring the whole research activities. There will be another technical officer who will be experienced in doing the IP protection, the licensing, one training program to see exactly how you're supposed to do the IP protection. Some clear guidance or guidelines also for the technology transfers, royalties. There could be also the same in online mode assessment or even offline mode, and opportunities to make up assessments also could be given also. value added skills enhancement papers. So here you have the provision of providing modules on general skills, and it can be introduced as skill development based value added papers, and also the teaching learning process could be substantially increased. Other activities of learning could be like having different activities of all rounders, as we had mentioned, and also coaching the students who are weak, and also having some kind of scholarship given to the students who are coming from financially weak backgrounds also. Okay, for that, as we said, they could be the earn value learn scheme. So it has the students also learning, and they are also getting paid to do it. Okay, flexibility and multidisciplinary. You have the different programs that you have for the students. They could choose from different disciplines. They don't have to stick with what they wanted initially, but they can also switch over to something else. They would get like a certificate program, and also have different MOUs with different industries, with different other educational systems also. So you have opportunities for utilizing the research innovative things. So as we were saying in the previous enabler, that organized hackathons, have exchange programs with the faculty or with the students, and that would be the opportunities that one can have. Human resources and supportive facilitative enablers. So here you have the student learner enabler, which would be holistic admission framework. And this would be a holistic approach of the various talents one would have also in the diversity and inclusion also. Merit and financial aid would deal with a rich tapestry of the students' talent of what exactly one can do, and also the academic success programs. So what is happening, what you have, and how you can mentor the students to have a successful program. Staff empowerment enabler. So this is a competency between recruitment. You have different professional development and growth, and the inclusion of industrial protocols. Faculty and research enabler would mean to have continuous professional and pedagogical develop. So you're going to have the faculty being trained to do better, and also have research also too. Okay, cross-functional enablers are recognition and a reward system. So you can get rewarded for doing a particular research, and also have well-being programs. Leadership and collaborative opportunities also should be there for the different stakeholders. Strategic funding and emotional enabling. You could have the empowerment of early career researchers, and also emotional intelligence and support networks also. Enabler for pedagogical innovation, you have pedagogical excellence initiatives. And besides these, you can also have supportive facilitative enablers like accessibility or proximity, where you have the leaders being readily available for various leaderships. You have a rich communication, not only the message is conveyed, but it's understood by everyone. Be a good role model and share your vision for what your university is and how you will exactly have this shared vision with everyone. Have good core values and have this forward thinking of what you are going to plan for the future. Besides this, you have to have the trust with everyone, so that once the trust is built up, you have a commitment to work towards the same goal. You also have traditional rituals, which would be among the stakeholders and commitment to the institution. You have to have a goal in every student, safety and security, and you have to also have the respect for everyone. Okay. Health also should be good, not only physical health, but also mental health. So you have to ensure that the students, not only physical health is good, but also mentally. Okay. Going to the next one, we have networking and collaboration enablers. So for this one, we have the strategic collaboration, that's the integrated partnership. You have to sign partnerships with different companies. You have to sign MOUs so that you know exactly what they require. You have to have your alumni network also. to have a strong alumni network so that you know you can get your funding from them. They can contribute in mentoring also your students or even teaching. Academic and research excellence. Over here, you have to have, as the word says, good academic excellence and good research excellence. So for that, you need to provide good reading material to the students, or even this could be in hard copy in the library, or even soft copy available as a link also, which is only to your institute. Okay. Practical exposure and experience. So for this, as it says practical, you know that you have to do something which is hands-on. So you have to have hands-on practice, hands-on experience of what is being done. And this you can do by practicing your skill again and again and in various workshops or live project opportunities. Community engagement and service that you have. These are social integrations, collaboration with the NGOs and also with various organizations like programs like Unat Bharat Abhiyan or even civic partnerships too. Professional development and employability. So you have to have different placement cells so that your students will know exactly what companies, what require what different discipline nature, so that they can choose in their first year what combination would be better and have them working on it. So faculty consultancy is where you promote faculty-led consultancy and you're building the networks with various job placements also. Quality and credibility. So here you have to have the accreditation of your institute to know what the value is, and you can have educational excellence. Innovation and entrepreneurship. You have to have the startup ecosystem. For that, you can also have your incubation center and your digital infrastructure where you can have your digital library also. Or you can have digital networking with your peers or with your alumni. Okay. I hope everything is clear till here. We have the last 2 points. The physical enabler and the digital enablers. Okay. So physical enabler, you have smart campus. So as the word smart says, it is created where the buildings like talk to each other. So knowing what is required, what is missing, it could be in lighting system, it could be in security system, it could be environmental system. So you have to have a good smart structure, smart campus that is existing on your campus. Next one is green sustainable building. So constructing green buildings on campus would be possible for future use of the building. And you would have also green energy being used. So you have sustainable, just green or sustainable building. And maybe instead of having individual ACs, you could have like a central AC system for the high-tech buildings. So you could also use recyclable or renewable resources to produce and provide for the air, water, food, light, and electricity in a sustainable way. Infrastructure to commute. So to commute, you have to have your petrol vehicles or diesel vehicles, which will be parking at the entrance of the campus. And then in the campus, you can either walk, you can use the cycle, you can use some kind of green energy, but you will only use something which is not going to be harmful to the environment. So you should also have some possibility for the PWD students or faculty or non-teaching teaching. Okay, so accessibility should be there for everybody. The next one is the administrative block. So besides having a central administrative block in the middle of your campus, because it's going to be a huge campus and the various buildings all around it, you can also have in each building a smaller administrative cell, so that administrative cell will be talking with the main administrative cell, so that there is no requirements for actually moving from one to the other building. Okay. Library and digital resource centers. So have a building for library and not only stock it with only books, but also have it accessible to e-books or e-journals which are available online. And this could also be accessible to you not only on campus, but also at your home. So have a login password for the faculty students so that everyone can have access to the e-libraries. Lecture complex classroom. So in this over here, you should have enough of classrooms for the students. You have to have with different seating capacities, because you do not know what combination of students might be there. Which combination has more demand, they could be sent to the classrooms having more number of seats. Less demand, you have the classroom having the less number of seats. So you have to have a varied classroom facility over in your institute. Tutorial rooms, there should be good video recording facility also. Okay, examination branch. So besides having the examinations that you might be taking up for your students, you also have to have an examination branch such that you have any other reasons. You could also have like a confidential block for the examination so that there's no leakage of paper or marks or anything like that too. Facilities to the faculty and the staff. They should have the possibility of the faculty staying on campus, and that should also have not just a single bedroom. It could have a 2-bedroom if you wish to have a 2-bedroom or a 3-bedroom facility also. So there should be enough of quarters for the residents, as in not only the staff members but also the family. Meeting room. Have enough of space for the meeting room, and it could be also as per different committees. So you could have a bigger meeting room or a smaller meeting room. Office rooms should have enough of place for the members who are existing in the office, and also they should be given the basic requirements of the desk or a cupboard or desktop or so. So office should be equipped with the necessities. Laboratories and research centers. So the laboratories have to have their basic requirements of having the basic scientific in the scientific field, and also they should have the reference books or the digital information also available. If you're operating something for the first time, you need to know exactly how to use or anything like that if it's not taught in class, because you're going to have learner-centric. Computer center or the multimedia studios. So you have to see that your computer center is having the most basic requirements, and multimedia studio has to have the recording facility or even the sound control. Okay. Cafeteria or the dining facility. So you could have the option of a mess also, or you could also have your own, it should have a cooking facility where if you like to make your own, you can also do so. But it should be hygienic, and it should also have cleanliness. Okay. So that's dealing with that. You have the games and sports facility. You have a playground. Maybe you can have a external playground. You can have an internal stadium where you have different sports play at different places required. And if you require a gym or a workout area, that's optional to say, even a swimming pool or so. Auditorium, add conference rooms. So here the auditorium is of a sufficient size depending on the size of the institute. So you could have maybe 1 or 2 auditoriums depending on the demand for the auditorium. And besides this, you have hostels. These hostels could be either for the students or for research scholars, where you have outstation, or you have the out exchange program students who are coming, so that you can house them in these hostels. Okay, parking. So as I mentioned, parking could be done at the entrance, and then after it could be having enough of parking for your own vehicles so that you have access for the others to move around in the campus. Exhibition hall. So we are having our participants doing, our students doing the different creativity, maybe in artistry also. So give them a chance to exhibit their talent by having an exhibition hall where they can also display and have like a whole show over there. Guest accommodation. So since you're going to have a guest house for various visiting members, you have to have this good guest accommodation where you can provide a facility of a canteen where food can be provided. Besides this, you have commercial shops and centers. So something for the students and the staff, basic shopping required, maybe a basic supermarket, You could have a laundry service, you could have a horticulture service, you could have a stationery shop, you could have the bank, which is required. Whatever requirements for a commercial shop, that should be there as a basic requirement. And for leisure activities, you could have like some other kind of shops for aspirational purposes. Health and well-being. So when we say health, we're not only meaning the physical health, it could be also mental health, but have like a system of 24/7, because you have also staff, you have also students who are living on platform in the campus. And there's not only physical health, it could be also mental health. So have a psychologist who is who can guide and see exactly how you can get back. Student recreation facility. So you have the student not only learning in the morning and going and staying on campus, but there could be some recreation for the students to do also while they are staying on campus. International Student Center, wherever you have student amenity, whenever international students are existing in large number, you could maybe have some kind of amenities for them. Incubation Center and Research Park. So for this incubation center, already mentioned that if any student wants to go ahead and collaborate, or even wants to start up their own business, these incubation centers would help them. Botanical park or a garden is a garden for different scientific research you could have, which could be done, or you could even have a conservation or display of particular needs. Vocational education, training and skilling infrastructure. So over here you have different computer labs which are there for learning different skills, and vocational education also is part of the curriculum. Okay. Going to the next one, we have the digital enablers. Okay, so you have the internet which is there. So this will provide access to information across the whole campus. You have your website which is there to be designed. So this will give the useful information across to all the stakeholders on the platform across the country. Why you're providing this, how you will attract them to join your institute. Have an online messaging stakeholder group for vertical as well as for horizontal communication between all the stakeholders, and also between your high authorities and the others. Have an online blog with sites for every course. So you have to show what you are doing in your particular course. What is the success of your course in the previous year? How many are seats available to come in and enroll for your particular course? Have Wi-Fi campuses. So not necessarily that each building will have to look after their own internet, but have a Wi-Fi campus so that you're accessing online information in the classrooms also, and also you can have it on campus when maybe while you're staying on campus. Online study materials would be good if you can get the digital library to also give an access to information not only on campus but also at home. So this would maybe have some kind of password so that only you are having access to it. Digital publishing, as we mentioned, you can have your university or your college, university having the publishing facilities. Paperless office is something, e-office, that everyone knows about. Not actually going to the administrative block literally, but on your system only you can follow up with a green sheet and see exactly what is there. You have a paperless office. So this would require training of not only the teaching or non-teaching staff also. So having paperless office to save paper also. Paperless exams. Yes, you can also have this where you are stopping on the wastage of paper. Since it's going to be a paperless exam, of course, online evaluation is definitely going to be following it, where you will have to do the evaluation online. Finally, you can also declare your results on your particular website, but the students only have the access to it because they have their login passwords. So wherever you can require to announce the results, that also you can mention. NEP Marks Card is used to secure digital academic repository solutions, and you have the online admission test, education, ERP, and a plagiarism software facility where you can get the full rights to it and one would not come up with much similarity. Online digital magazine student publications where you are getting your student to publish in the particular magazine and also the faculty also to do so. Online placements can be not only actual placements in the company, but you could also have the projects and the internships also in there. You have the video documentation of each course in each college, so you know exactly what you have done, and you can also propagate it in on the public platforms. You also can propagate your courses or do so on social media, and you could adopt different ICT tools. You can have the services done for various AI or cloud computing or virtual or even data entry or so. A studio for video online classes, a video conferencing facility, and of course, open public publication system. So everyone online also can have a look at your publications too. Okay, so this was all about our institutional development plan, the activities which are existing. Just give me 1 minute. I'll just get you into this. Will just take a minute or so. This is Professor Jagdish Kumar, the former chairman of the UGC.
Mission as well as an academic mission. The social mission includes providing equitable access to high quality education and preparing the graduates to successfully perform their roles in various professions that they will take up after passing out of your institution. So, how do you meet the mission of your institution? The academic mission includes focusing on academic excellence, research innovation, leveraging the digital technology in education, making the education more meaningful in the lives of your students, international collaboration, and so on. How do you make sure that you achieve the mission goals set for your institution? To achieve this goal, every institution has to prepare an institutional development plan. UGC has recently announced guidelines on preparing the institutional development plan. This is a general framework using which every institution can prepare an institutional development plan unique to their mission. These enablers include academic excellence enabler, research innovation enabler, capacity building enabler, physical infrastructure development enabler, digital technology enabler, and so on. As a leader of the educational institution, don't you think it is time for you to develop an institutional development plan to take your institution to the next level? Please do read our UGC guidelines on institutional development plan and prepare a roadmap for your own institution.
Yes. Thank you so much for your patient listening. And
Thank you, ma'am. Participant, if you have any questions or the queries, you can directly ask to Professor Ingrid, ma'am. Please, anyway, that will be really appreciable. Ma'am, till that, one question on YouTube, if you could permit, can I take?
yes,
Yes. So, ma'am, we are this IDP. What are the similarity between this IDP and the agenda that has been set between the Vikasit Bharat? Is there any resemblance or the similarity?
I could get back to you on that particular. So could you repeat your question once again?
Ma'am, is there any similarity or resemblance between the agendas that has been already set for the Vikasit Bharat 2047 as a knowledge-based economy for the higher education institution, and in this that IDP, that is the Institutional Development Plan?
Okay, I will get back to you on this particular topic regarding this one. You can always message me. I have given my details over here.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, definitely.
Yes.
Yes, anyone else? Anyone can please be confirmed. Either we can conclude. Hello, participants. Ma'am, I think we should conclude if you could permit.
Yes, we could.
So on behalf of Malvi Mission Teacher Training Center and Gadge Baba Amravati University and all the participants, those who have present here, I extend my sincere thanks to Professor Ingrid ma'am, to you ma'am, for such a wonderful session. And definitely the whatever maybe the enablers you have defined here for this IDP, that will be helpful for our for us also and for our institution also. To make such kind of such kind of plans, comprehensive plans at our institution. Although it's a mandate by the state government as well as the University Grants Commission, but rather than the mandate on the developing such kind of IDPs, that should be realistic, and we should achieve that goals at our institution level so that we can compete in this global era. So with this, I once again extend my sincere thanks to you, ma'am, for such a wonderful and insightful session and for your precious time. I once again extend my sincere thanks to you, and with the kind consent of Professor Engage, ma'am, I would like to declare that this particular session will be over here. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And a special thank you to the director of UGC MMTTC and Gadge Baba Amravati University, Professor Atik, for giving me this opportunity to share my ideas with the participants of this program. And thank you all the participants for patient listening. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Okay, so participant, please stay be connected. We will continue for the next session within 2 or 3 minutes. Hello, Professor Suresh ma'am.
Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, ma'am. Good afternoon, ma'am. Shall we start,
Good
ma'am?
afternoon. Yeah, yes, we can.
So, friends, good afternoon once again. As I have already told you that the today's session have been split into the two different parts. And first part, at most, we have completed, and now we are moving towards the another part of today's session. Friends, you know that being the faculty of this higher education institution, the policymaker expect the research from our institution, from our faculty, and we being the driven forces in this HEI ecosystem, we are and this responsibility on our shoulder to carry out societal oriented research that should be counted, that should be contribute to our great country and our nation. So to discuss this much important aspect, that is the research and development, today we have with us a very great senior and dynamic personality, Professor Preeti Suresh ma'am. Ma'am, first of all, I extend my warm welcome on behalf of Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, Maldiv Mission Teacher Training Center, one of our collaborating institution, Sandeep Institute of Technology and Research Center situated in Nashik, and all the learned participants, those who are present here. Friends, Professor Preeti Suresh ma'am is a distinguished pharmaceutical scientist, academic leader, and the professor of the University of Institute of Pharmacy at Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University situated in the Raipur, Chhattisgarh. She has hold a postdoctoral fellowship from the Kobe Going University, Japan in 2005 and completed her PhD from the HSGAU University in 2002 and same MPharm with the with the meritorial and gold medal position. She has before and joining this institution, she has served for the Shivaji University, Gwalior, Dr. Hari Singh Gaur Vishwavidyalaya, that is the Central University, Guru Ghasidas Vishwavidyalaya, that is the Central University in the Bilaspur, in the various capacity, including as a professor, director of University of Institute of Pharmacy. And currently, she is serving as a professor at the Institute of Pharmacy at Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University and also holding the charge of this director of this Maldiv Mission Teacher Training Center at the similar university. Our area of specialization is the novel drug discovery system and the nano carrier for the drug delivery application with the major research contribution in the oral peptide delivery, oral drug delivery, a lipid and polymer based nano carrier, and the controlled targeted delivery system. She brings over 3 decades of teaching as well as the research experience, including the postdoctoral research across the leading Indian universities. Professor Suresh ma'am has successfully guided multiple PhD and the MPharm scholars and has undertaken the multiple sponsored research project and the
Hello. Yeah, may I start here?
sorry for the interruption. Her Scopus citation with the 249 and H index 8 and the Google Scholar citation with the 476 with the H index 9 and I index 9. Her excellence has been recognized through the various prestigious awards that include the Dr. Irex Dexler Gold Medal for the best scientific presentation at the Nanotech India in 2009 and Masteurial International Foundation Research Fellowship at the Japan and CSR Senior Research Fellowship. She is a registered pharmaceutical scientist with the Chhattisgarh State Council and Pharmaceutical Council of the India. Professor Suresh ma'am has made a significant contribution to the academic governance and the professional services, serving as a member of Academic Council, chairperson, and the member of the Board of Studies, member of Examination Committee, and the editor of the CWC Update. She has also the reviewer of various prestigious and high impact international journal in the nanomedicine and the drug delivery, and they frequently serve as an expert member on the research committee of the different university. actively engaged in the national and the international scientific forum. Professor Suresh ma'am has presented over 50 research conference papers in the conference, delivered numerous talk, chaired technical session, and contributed as a resource person and the expert at UGC AICT DBT sponsored program. She is a life member of the Indian Pharmaceutical Association, Association of Pharmaceutical Teachers of India, and International Foundation of Japan. Moreover, she is the member of the steering committee constituted by the Chhattisgarh state government towards the implementation of this national education policy. So, friends, we are luckily fortunate to get a member or a faculty or a senior faculty who is implementing this national education policy in terms of particularly faculty development, and having a member of the steering committee, those who are implementing this national education policy at state level. So let us join me to warmly welcome Professor Preeti Suresh ma'am once again here. Ma'am, we are warmly welcome you and request you to please start with your session. Ma'am, please.
Thank you. Thank you very much for a very kind and generous introduction. I should apologize for this delay. I was caught up in some another urgent task, but I would like to thank Professor Muhammad Atiq, Director MMTTC at Sant Gadge Baba Amravati University, for giving me this opportunity to be here and share some of my understanding and perspectives on the theme that we are going to discuss today. As you all are a part of this NEP orientation and sensitization program, by now you are quite aware about this flagship program of the UGC, where we are trying to reach out to over 15 lakh teachers and also the budding teachers regarding the various recommendation and the provisions that now are available to us through the National Education Policy document. And recently, on July 29th, we had completed the 6 years of national education policy, right? But still, there are many misconceptions, many apprehensions regarding the implementation of the NEP. And as you all know, the higher education or education in general, it is a part of the concurrent list. That means it is both a part of the central government and the state government. So I think that is the reason why the different states have been implementing at their own levels, at their own pace in their respective institutions. And many of your institutions, you also might have implemented some of the provisions of NEP in your uh, respective departments or in your university. So during the course of session, if any one of you want to share some of your best practices or your challenges or anything about the national education policy, you can always unmute yourself and share, right? So, but before I proceed further, I would just like to give you a glimpse of the university where I am presently associated with, that is Pandit Ravi Shankar Shukla University, which is located in the capital city of Chhattisgarh, Raipur. And we are a 62-year-old university. But another major purpose for sharing this screen was also to share with you the motto of our university. The motto of our university, as you know, that it is derived from one of our ancient texts, that is Isha Upanishad, which says Agne Naye Supatha Rai. And if we go by its translation, it means, O fire or O Agni, lead us on a virtuous path to prosperity. So I think that as teachers, in whichever institutions we may be, our major objective always remains to educate our students, to empower them so that they are able to lead a prosperous life ahead. But at the same time, it is also our moral responsibility to ensure that we are able to inculcate in them certain values, which they will be able to carry forward in whichever roles they are going to play, right? So with that, I hope this is one session that I'm taking. And during this session, I would just like to give you some of the what are our provisions or way forward that we have to take forward for research and development. But at the same time, I hope all of you have gone through the National Education Policy document. And if you have gone through that policy document, you will agree with me when I say that it is a very critical document. Critical in the sense it is not only giving us the recommendations, like what are the major changes that we can bring about in our higher education ecosystem, but at the same time it is also highlighting like what are the major issues that has been affecting our higher education. One of the major concerns has been due to the fragmentation, right? Fragmented structure of our higher education, where there are very rigid boundaries between the disciplines. And very early on, we start pushing the students towards specialization. No doubt, this helps us to bring about or the students develop expertise in a particular specific domain. But sometimes this super specializations fails to develop a holistic view amongst the students. Another constraint or concern has been regarding the structure where we have been more of a teacher specific system, whereas teachers we are provided with a syllabus, and our major concern has been to complete the syllabus to so that the students are ready to appear for the examinations. But at the end of the examination, what are the skills that the students are developing, that was somehow missed upon. But during the last few years, now we see that we are more moving towards the outcome-based education, where now we have the program-specific outcomes, program outcomes, course outcomes, and at the end of the program, we are trying to measure about what are the attainment values. So there has been a change in this area. Another concern has been due to the diversity in the nature of the institutions. Like this diversity exists not only in the nature of the programs that are being offered to the institutions, but also in terms of the infrastructure or the facilities that the students have at these institutions. So on one end of the spectrum, you can say we have these premier institutions, whether it is IITs or IIMs or even central universities or sometimes even the state universities. But on the other side of the spectrum, we see there are the majority of our institutions. These are located in socio-economically challenged areas. Sometimes these institutions, they do not have the requisite facilities. The number of teachers are also very less, and we all know how this affects the quality of education. And also sometimes, even though some teachers, they may be enthusiastic, they may want to bring about certain changes, uh, the structure do not permit, right? The institutions do not have the autonomy. We all are bound by the various acts, laws, statutes, regulations of the university, which does not gives us much flexibility to change the many of the things, right? And also sometimes, even though the teachers may want to do it, but your superiors, whether it is your HODs, principal, deans, or directors, they may not be very forthcoming to permit you for these experimentations. But since today's session is another concern is due to the structure of the institutions that we are having, where we are having these large affiliating universities, and under one university, there may be hundreds of colleges may be there. And with these sheer large number of institutions, it becomes very difficult for the university authorities to strictly monitor or regulate the quality of education. And the major sufferer, I should say, are the undergraduate students. But since in today's session, we are majorly focusing on research, uh, a major concern has been that a majority of our institutions, they are not focusing on research. In 2024-25, Ernst and Young, they had come up with a report, and they had reported how there are over 56,845 higher education institutions. That is including the universities, colleges, private, government owned. And out of these large number of institutions, only 850 institutions, that means only 1.5% of our institutions are focusing on research. And the major reason that can be taken out is the paucity of funds. Because we all know that research is a very fund intensive activity. And due to the lack of the funds, even though the teachers may be motivated, even though if they want to pursue research, they do not have the means to do so. And that is how you see now the national education policy is giving us many uh, provisions where we can bring about a change, whether how there is now more emphasis on multidisciplinary education. There are multiple entry and exit points for the students. Apart from that, there is now more focus on skill development. Internship has been made a major part of the courses, right? And also, in many of the programs where now we are moving towards the 4-year undergraduate programs, in the final year, the students have the option of earning the credits through their through the projects, right? And on with respect to research, a major uh, declaration that was made was the establishment of the NRF, that is the National Research Foundation. So that is how we see the changes that has been proposed through the national education policy. But before I proceed further, I think we should also remember that any higher education institutions, it should or it needs to focus on major 5 core elements, right? The major core element is certainly teaching and learning, because these are the centers of teaching and learning. We have to ensure that we have a right curriculum in place. We are adopting the pedagogies which facilitates the learning of the students, which is able to engage the students. We should have the requisite infrastructure that is required for it. But apart from that, another major element is the opportunities that we have to provide for synthesis and creativity. We have to provide the platforms where the students can explore, they have the freedom to innovate. And also institutions lies in ensuring that the students are able to engage with the other. Apart from their peers, they should be able to engage with their community, with their faculty members. And also, it is also the responsibility of the higher education institutions that whatever uh, skills that the students are acquiring, or whatever the expertise that the faculty members are having, that should ultimately be beneficial for the society. It should be useful for the society. It should be able to solve the problems that are prevailing in the society. And apart from that, another major focus area needs to be the research and discovery, because this is one area which sometimes gets overlooked due to very obvious reasons. But that is also one of the major responsibilities of any higher education institutions. Now, before I proceed further, I would like to know from the participants, like, what do you think? What is basically research? Yes, if any one of you can unmute and share. I hope I can continue in English, or should I be bilingual? Yes, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Should I be bilingual? Should I use a mix of Hindi and English?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is research basically? Research क्या होता है? Yes. आप में से कोई बोलना चाहेगा? देखिए, अगर आप लोग रेस्पॉन्ड नहीं करेंगे, इट बिकम समटाइम्स इट अपीयर्स मीनिंगलेस ना, कि मेरी बात आप तक पहुंच रही है कि नहीं पहुंच रही है. आई एम नॉट एबल टू. यस, डॉक्टर नेहा, आप बोलना चाहेंगे, बताना चाहेंगे व्हाट इज रिसर्च? तो शुड आई जस्ट रन द स्लाइड्स? आप रेस्पॉन्ड नहीं करेंगे? यस, बताना चाहेंगे क्या होता है? व्हाट डू यू थिंक, व्हाट डू यू अंडरस्टैंड? देयर इज नथिंग रॉन्ग और राइट इन इट. So research, as you all know, it is a very systematic investigation where you may be creating new knowledge, or sometimes you may be using the existing knowledge, but in a very new or creative manner, right? So any research, it has majorly two aims. One is the discovery of new knowledge, and sometimes with that new knowledge, you may be able to come up with new technologies which will be useful for the development of newer products, newer processes, or even newer ways in which we can offer services, right? Uh, so I will just skip these. Now, चलिए इसका थोड़ा सा रिस्पॉन्स मैं चाहूंगी आप लोगों से कि why do you think it is important for us to engage in research in higher education institutions? देखिए, आप रिस्पॉन्ड नहीं करेंगे तो it doesn't have any meaning that I conduct the session, right? मेरी आवाज पहुंच रही है कि नहीं पहुंच रही है आपको? Yes, please respond. Yes, Dr. Vikas Kumar ji, you want to say something? आप अनम्यूट नहीं कर सकते तो you can write it in the chat box also. Yes, why do we need to undertake research in higher education institutions? So one of the reasons, primary reasons, is when as faculty members you are engaged in research, you are keeping yourself updated, you are further widening your understanding, right? And this ultimately benefits your students also because you are able to take all these things into your classrooms as well. Another major reason is because you take any ranking framework, whether you are participating, your institution is participating in NIRF, or you are going for NAC accreditation. Research component has a very high weightage, right? Now, as we are moving towards the new system of NAC accreditation, but the earlier system that we had, where we had these 7 criterias, criteria 3, we all know that was about the research, innovation, and extension activities. And for universities, almost 25 percentage weightage was there for the research. And for the colleges, it was somewhere around 12 to 15% in percentage, right? Weightage. And if you take any institutions which is higher on the NIRF ranking or which is uh, having a higher NAC accreditation, whether it is A plus or A plus plus, you will see that all these institutions are focusing on research. And if the research is the focus in your university, you will be able to attract meritorious students into your campuses. You will be able to retain your faculty members because they will have the flexibility to undertake research in addition to their teaching responsibilities. Another reason is that it also helps us to develop the critical thinking skills in the students. When you are assigning some project or even research based assignments to the students, the student will be going through the literature, they will trying to analyze it, and in this exercise they will be developing the critical thinking skills. Apart from that, we will see that when research is the focus in your institutions, it creates a very dynamic environment within your institutions, because you will see that the scholars from other institutes will be visiting your institutions, your faculty members, your students, they will be moving out, they will be participating in other academic events, whether it is some seminars or symposias or any other thing, right? And this helps in creating a very thriving academic community within our campuses. And sometimes it also leads to groundbreaking discoveries also. Many a times, if you all are aware about the policy that came, that was Manrega, right? That was Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. That was basically the outcome of the research of one of the foreign scholars, actually, who was uh, Dr. Drees, who was working in the Delhi School of Economics, and it was his recommendations which ultimately took the shape of that policy. Even during the COVID times, we have seen like one of the vaccines which was introduced in the market by, yes, Dr. Neha, can you please mute yourself? One of the vaccines which was developed by Johnson and Johnson, which it was actually based on the research of the scientists at the Harvard universities, right? And also another important reason is like research also gives us a way in which we can provide solutions for the problems that the communities or the societies around us may be having. And last but not the least, it is also uh, a viable, I should say, way for the resource mobilization. Because now, when there is so much talk around the raising the funds and all, if your faculty member
Ma'am, your mic is mute.
So for research, one of the major constraints is the funding, right? And if you can see on your screen, where you can see like what is the gross expenditure on R&D per capita for the various countries. And here you can see that we are having one of the lowest GERD amongst the number of nations, not only the developed countries, say like Germany or UK or US, even smaller countries like whether it is Italy or even Malaysia or Mexico or Russia, they are also spending much more than what we are spending on research. And as you see that over the years, the expenditure on R&D has been on the rise. But that is only half the side of the story. And if you can just follow these red lines there, which is actually the how much of our GDP that we are spending on research, you will see that this value, this has almost remained stagnant around 0.65%. And why this is important? ये क्यों important हो जाता है? क्योंकि this is one of the world development indicators कि आप अपनी GDP का कितना परसेंटेज रिसर्च पे स्पेंड करते हैं. तो अगर कुछ कंट्रीज का हम कंपैरिजन अगर आप देखते हैं कि वेदर जो हमसे जिनकी जीडीपी ज्यादा है, वेदर इट इज जर्मनी और चाइना और यूएस, उनका जीडीपी तो हमसे ज्यादा है ही, और उस जीडीपी का जो परसेंटेज जो रिसर्च पे स्पेंड करते हैं वो भी कई गुना ज्यादा है. Did I got disconnected? तो आप देखिए कि रिसर्च में मेजरली 4 सेक्टर्स ये इन्वॉल्व रहते हैं: गवर्नमेंट, प्राइवेट बिजनेस ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस, देन हायर एजुकेशन इंस्टीट्यूशंस एंड प्राइवेट नॉन प्रॉफिट ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस. और अगर आप यहाँ पर इंडिया का स्टैटिस्टिक्स अगर आप फॉलो करते हैं तो व्हाट यू ऑब्जर्व, वी ऑब्जर्व दैट फॉर अस our dependency on government funds for research is way too high than it is for other countries. Almost 56.1% of our research funding that is sourced through government agencies. Whereas for other countries, just take for an example, whether it is South. Yes.
I think your mic is off. You are not getting your sound.
I'm not audible. Am I not audible? Am I audible?
Yes, madam.
Yes, ma'am. Audible, audible.
Audible only.
Audible, na? Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you. So you will see that our dependency on government funds for research is way too high as is compared to other countries, because almost 56.1% of our research funding is sourced through various government funding agencies. Whereas the participation of the private business enterprises is relatively lower than it is for other countries. Just take an example of Japan or in South Korea, almost 80% of their research funding is sourced through private business enterprises. And the contribution of the higher education sector, that is also relatively less at 7.1%. And the contribution of private non-profit organization, that is almost negligible. So now here we also see the opportunity where we need to further explore for getting the funding for our research projects. But having said that, it is also a very, should say, unpleasant truth that majority of our research that we are doing in higher education institutions that somehow ends up in only some thesis or some reports or in some publications that sometimes do not have any translational value. The private business enterprises, they will be always ready to fund your project, right? But they should have some translational value. So that is one thing that we may have to focus upon. And another thing that needs to be pointed out that the majority of the R&D expenditure that is incurred through various government funding agencies, that is almost 50% of the funds is directed towards the defense research and the space research. And no doubt due to this, we have been able to achieve a number of milestones in these areas, but somehow the other areas do not receive the enough funds. And that is how you will see that what is NEP saying about research. NEP is very categorically pointing out that if we want to improve the quality of education, we will have to focus on research and innovation. And not only we will have to focus on research, we have to promote quality research within our higher education institutions. And NEP is also highlighting, or it is also pointing out that ultimately we will have to integrate research, innovation, and technology development. Because unless and until we are able to integrate these three things, we may not be able to achieve the status of Atmanirbhar Bharat or self-reliant India. That will remain a distant dream. And in that aspect, we see that the National Education Policy also talked about the establishment of the NRF. And in that direction, Anusandhan National Research Foundation. This was establishment was notified in February 5th, 2024. And you can say now it is the apex body which is providing high-level strategic direction for the scientific research in the country as per the recommendations of the NEP. And a number of key initiatives have been taken up through the ANRF. You will be aware about the SARAL, that is the AI-based research summarizer that has been put forward by the ANRF also. And the prime focus areas under the ANRF are the natural sciences, including the mathematical sciences, engineering, technology, environmental and earth sciences, health and agriculture. But that doesn't mean that the experts from the humanities or the social sciences, they cannot participate in the research projects which are funded by ANRF. Because ultimately, if we want to take the outcomes of the research from all these basically science areas, we will need the expertise of the researchers from the humanities and the social sciences as well. So these research proposals which are being submitted to ANRF, they can also have the persons from social sciences or humanities as PI or co-PI. Another major area that will have long-lasting effect or implications for research is the multidisciplinary approach in education. So whenever we are talking about multidisciplinary approach, it is not only giving more choices to the students. Certainly, one of the objectives of multidisciplinary approach is to give more options for the students, which were not earlier available for an individual because they were always constrained by the discipline that they have chosen. Now, when the multidisciplinary education is being offered, the student has the flexibility to take one course from the sciences, one from the humanities, and maybe two from the vocational education. And whenever a student is exposed to multidisciplinary education, we are able to develop 4 important skills in the student. One is the curiosity, second is the creativity, third is the analytical thinking ability, and fourth is the critical thinking abilities. And we all know that these 4 important skills, these are very, very important for framing the right research questions. Because unless and until you are able to frame the right research question, we may not be able to come out with some relevant outcomes or solutions through our research. And in that direction, the UGC has also come up with the establishment of the R&D cells. I would have loved to know from you all whether in your university or in your college, do you have an R&D cell? And if you are having an R&D cell, what are the activities that you are undertaking? Should I expect an answer? Or maybe you can write down in the chat box. So you can go through, download this guideline from the UGC website. It is a very small document, hardly 5 to 6 pages, and it gives us the guideline about how and what is the need for the establishment of R&D cell in our higher educational institutions. So one of the major, some of the important roles, I should say, or the functions of an R&D cell, one is to your university should have a research policy. You should identify the thrust areas, and whatever thrust areas that you are identifying or for your university, that should be in alignment with the regional and the national priorities, right? And also another important role that the R&D cell needs to play, that is to further uh, promote the multidisciplinary and interdisciplinary research. Because somehow we in academics, we are not very open up to collaborate, and especially from with the people from the other disciplines, even though they may be from within our institutions. So that is one of the important areas that the R&D cells need to encourage. Another is the assistance in submitting the research proposals, because writing the good research proposals in itself is an art, and how to identify the funding agencies and how to write a good research proposal, that assistance should be provided to the faculty members. Apart from that, managing if some IPRs are being generated through your research, how to manage those particular IPRs. And this is particularly more important when there are multiple partners are there, or there are different collaborating institutes are associated, then what will be the sharing, and everything has to be very clear cut in your policies. So apart from the research policy, your institute, it should also have an IPR policy. And apart from that, because research is a very dynamic field, you need to continuously conduct some training programs for your faculty members and for the students also. And also for the monitoring and evaluating of the various research activities that are being conducted within your institution, that also has to be done through the R&D cell. So this is the proposed structure of the R&D cell, where there will be a research advisory council, and the vice chancellor, if it is a university, and if it is a college, the principal will be the chairperson, and they can also nominate someone else to be the chairperson. And then there has to be a director of the R&D cell. And because a number of activities are to be conducted, there are multiple responsibilities are there. So the decentralization of power can be done, where by constituting different committees, for instance, one committee can be for finance and infrastructure, one committee can be involved in the research programs and for the policy development, another committee may be centered around the various collaborations and the community related activities. One committee can be for the monitoring and if exploring the potential for commercialization of the research. And one committee can be entirely dedicated for the various IPR and the other legal and ethical matters. So how the NEP is giving us the avenues for the reforming the research within our higher education institutions. First and foremost is by partnership and by collaborations. As I mentioned earlier, uh, all institutions, we all have our limitations and our strengths. And especially when we want to go for interdisciplinary research proposals, sometimes we may not have the requisite expertise, or we may not be having the infrastructure. So partnering and collaborating with other institutions and other researchers is one of the best ways to strengthen the research. Another uh, recommendations that was made in the NEP, that was the 4-year undergraduate program. Earlier, the 4-year undergraduate program was only for some technology or engineering based courses or other paramedical or medical courses. Now, even the conventional programs, whether it is the BA, BSc or BCom, these are also now being offered as a 4-year program. Now, these 4-year undergraduate programs, the students have the option, like if during the first 3 years, if the student has obtained a CGPA over 7.5, in the 4th year, the student can take up a research project, and on the basis of that, they can earn the credits. So that choice entirely rests upon the students. कि students अगर चाहते हैं और उनकी अगर CGPA 7.5 से ज्यादा है, तो 4th year में वो कोई रिसर्च प्रोजेक्ट्स लेकर अपने क्रेडिट्स अर्न कर सकते हैं. और ऐसे स्टूडेंट्स जो है उनको जो डिग्री मिलेगी, दैट विल बी जो ऑनर्स डिग्री है, मान लीजिए BA ऑनर्स विथ रिसर्च या BSc ऑनर्स विथ रिसर्च या BCom ऑनर्स विथ रिसर्च. एंड फॉर द स्टूडेंट्स जो कि रेगुलर दूसरे कोर्सेज के साथ अपना 4-year अंडरग्रेजुएट प्रोग्राम कंप्लीट करते हैं, they will be getting only the BA honors or the BCom honors or the BSc honors degree. And in this, another venue now that is open for these students is कि जो students 4-year undergraduate program with research करते हैं, they can directly enroll for the PhD program also. Because now you will see that even the NET एग्जाम में भी ऐसे स्टूडेंट्स जिन्होंने वो जो 4-year undergraduate program अगर रिसर्च के साथ किया है, so they can also directly enroll for the PhD programs. Another provision that can be made is by offering research and teaching assistantships to the students, both the graduate and the undergraduate student. So in that case, what happens is the students will be working in close association with a faculty member under with us under a research project. So they will be getting some hands-on experience, and apart from that, they will also be getting some remuneration for that, which will be a support for the economically needy students. Apart from that, one very important area which needs to be focused upon is that we will have to update our libraries and databases, because unless and until our students have access to recent literature, latest information, latest resources, we cannot assure, or we cannot be sure that we will be able to, students will be able to do some quality research. And in that direction, we all know the subscription of all these Q1 or Q2 journals, it is way too high. And the universities or the institutions, they do not have the budgetary provisions to subscribe for all the quality journals across the disciplines, right? That has been a major challenge. But now, with the ONOS, that is the One Nation, One Subscription, which is a government-funded digital library, now we are having the access to number of scholarly research journals and articles. So this scheme was launched by the government, central government, in 25 on a pilot basis for 3 years. And in this, through single platform, the government has taken up the subscription from over 32 publishers. And करीब इससे 13,000 जर्नल्स का जो है अब सब्सक्रिप्शन जो है हमारे पास, हम वी कैन एक्सेस ऑल दीज जर्नल्स प्रोवाइडेड योर इंस्टीट्यूशन इज कनेक्टेड थ्रू इन्फ्लिपनेट। तो इन्फ्लिपनेट के थ्रू, ये प्लेटफॉर्म के थ्रू आप इन सारे जर्नल्स को एक्सेस आप कर सकते हैं। और अगर इसका जस्ट एक स्टैटिस्टिक्स अगर हम देखें तो ओवर 1.8 करोड़ स्टूडेंट्स, फैकल्टी मेंबर्स एंड रिसर्चर्स in over 6,300 institutions are being benefited by it. तो ये जो हमारे लिए कई बार एक्सेस जो अवेलेबल नहीं था, नाउ दिस एक्सेस इज बीइंग मेड पॉसिबल थ्रू दी वन नेशन वन सब्सक्रिप्शन। एंड आप देखेंगे कि ये पोर्टल जो इट इज वेरी फ्रेंडली पोर्टल एंड यू कैन सर्च द रिसोर्सेज और आर्काइव्स भी हैं, आप उसको इजीली आप उसको यूज कर सकते हैं प्रोवाइडेड यू आर कनेक्टेड थ्रू दी इंटरनेट। सो जस्ट टू शेयर विथ यू कि किस तरह से रिसर्च जब फोकस में रहता है आपके इंस्टीट्यूशंस में, यू आर ऑल्सो एबल टू स्ट्रेंथन द इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर विद इन योर यूनिवर्सिटी। Our university, we are also a state-run university. We have our limited budgets that जो हमारे लिए रिसर्च के लिए अलग से जो बजट एलोकेशन होता है, it is not very high. But during the last many years, our faculty members, they have been writing research proposals और बहुत सारे research proposals grant हुए हैं, whether it is from all the virtual funding agencies, whether it is DST, UGC, ICSSR, ICMR, CSIR, CCOS, DRDO, DBT, और इवन छत्तीसगढ़ स्टेट प्लानिंग कमीशन से भी हुआ है, और अंडर द वेरियस स्पॉन्सरिंग स्कीम्स ऑल्सो, whether it is DST PERS, we got a grant of 10 crores under UGC, DRS, SAP, also 2 departments were identified under that. DST FIS से भी फंडिंग हुई थी, एंड ऑल्सो रिसेंटली जो ANRF का पेयर प्रोग्राम था जहाँ पे हब एंड स्पोक मॉडल में, that also our faculty members have been able to get these funds. So you see, with these all funds, we have been able to create a really good infrastructure within our university. We have many state-of-the-art instruments and facilities that has been created in this within the campus. Some of that is only one of its kind in this entire region. So that is how you see whenever we are focusing on the research, it ultimately also benefits the university also. But sometimes as being a part of the higher education institutions, we sometimes overlook like how it is important for us to be engaged both in teaching and research. Because we have to understand the modern universities को एस्टैब्लिशमेंट करने की बात आई तो ये वो सेंटर्स थे जहां पर आपका टीचिंग और रिसर्च दोनों में कनेक्शन को जारी रखना था. But what happens is when I say this, that we have to focus both on teaching and research, many of you will not agree with that. You will feel कि it is not possible for us to engage both in the teaching and research. And because for many of us, maybe you will be more interested towards research. In that case, what happens is then teaching assignments appear like a burden. But on the other side of the spectrum, if you want to escape from research, then you will always have an excuse that because you have so much of teaching assignments that you do not have the time to engage in research. But if you understand and try to look into the motives, you will understand that in higher education institutions, we have to focus both on the teaching and research. Because all of us in higher education institutions, we all are PhDs, right? And even if you are joining early within your career without PhD, you will always be looking forward to have that opportunity to enroll for a PhD program and get that research degree that ultimately helps you in your career advancement. But why that requirement has been placed because it was somewhere realized that when a faculty member is engaged in research, his or her teaching also improves. But somehow, if you look around, we will see that there is a disconnect between teaching and research. But there are many ways through which we can connect teaching and research within our classrooms, because both teaching and research, both are based on pursuit of knowledge, both are based on curiosity, and both are based on rationality. And when we are integrating teaching and research, we see that both our students and the faculty members both are benefited. How how does it improve the learning of the students? The learning of the student is improved because the student find themselves more engaged. Because if you are just engaging them only in theory classes, we will see that the student interest wanes off. But if you are engaging them in some hands-on training, they will be more interested. And during this process, the student also understands what are the research methodologies and how actually the knowledge production takes place. And when the student is engaged in research-based learning, the students are also able to connect like whatever things that are a part of their curriculum, how it is relevant to their daily lives. Even as teachers, you will see that our teachers' research that also improves, because it has been at least my personal experience that as a student, there were many topics which were difficult, or I had a poor understanding of those topics. But over the years now, since last 25 years, and when I'm teaching those subjects, after every class, I realize that I am gaining more clarity on those topics. So similar is the case when you are explaining the research concepts to the students, your research thoughts also gets more clarity. And when, if you want to assist the students in their research projects, you will also have to study the recent literature. And in this process, you will also keep yourselves updated. You will understand what are the innovations or the developments that are taking place in your field. And sometimes even your research, the students, their queries, their questions, they also give directions to your research. So in this manner, if you see how we can connect teaching and research in our classrooms during our lectures, we can have these 3 or 4 minutes, maybe you can dedicate, leave aside where you will be discussing the recent research topics with the students. You may be discussing like what are the implications of that particular topic, or what are the challenges that are existing in that particular domain. And even in sometimes you may be invited uh, as guest speakers in many academic events. There you should try to showcase the research that you are doing. Even though if you're not getting the opportunity, you should then when you are having access to so many of social media platforms, you can always post some videos or podcasts to showcase the research that you are doing. Even we can also plan some seminars for the students where beforehand we are giving some topic to the student. You uh, they come prepared, give their presentations, other students also participate. So that encourages the critical engagement of the student. Similarly, we are also having these tutorial sessions where we can handling a smaller group of students, so we can mentor them, we can guide them on the basis of their research interest. Similarly, sometimes in our institute, we may be having certain facilities, whether it is some softwares or some equipments, which may not be part of their curriculum. But if they learn it, it will be useful for them in a later times. So we should try to plan a workshop using these softwares or these equipments. Similarly, because the face-to-face time that we are having with the students may be limited, so we can also remain connected to them through these various platforms, whether it is these, we can have closed media groups, or we can have some WhatsApp groups through which we can share the research related materials with the students and provide answers to their queries. But it is always important that whatever research areas that you identify, that should be in alignment with the local, national, or the global priorities. Why it is important? It is important because unless and until you are focusing on these areas, you may not be able to create an impact on the people. You may not be able to provide solutions to the problems. Society will not be benefited by your research. And also, when we are focusing on these areas, there are more opportunities for us to go for interdisciplinary and genuine partnership with others. So that is how you see now we are moving from disciplinary research to multidisciplinary research. Disciplinary research, as you see, is when our research is confined within one academic discipline, where we may be setting a goal which is very much within that particular discipline. So whatever research that we are doing, that will develop new disciplinary knowledge, right? But when we are working on a multidisciplinary project means that we may be working under a thematic umbrella, right? Where we may be working under this dimension, and different disciplines, they will be working on what part of the problem. Just take for an example is climate change, right? So climate change is the major thematic area. And under that, there may be people from, say, economics, people from geology, people from sociology. So the person from the geology may be studying like what are the changes that the climate change is bringing about in the geospatial structure, or what are the geographical changes that is coming about. The person from the economics may be studying like what are the implications of climate change on the economic status of the region, how the livelihoods are affected of the people, right? How the economic status of the people is changing due to this. The person from the from the sociology will be understanding the social implications of the climate change. So in this way, in multidisciplinary research project, we all may be working under one thematic umbrella, but we may be studying a specific part of the work. Another important way is the participatory research. Participatory research is when not only we are having experts from the academic background, but there are also people from the non-academic background. That is the people who are having the conventional knowledge, or the people who are having the traditional knowledge, the people who are having the wisdom of ancestral knowledge. So we may be taking an assistance of there. Okay, so there are both the academic and non-academic participants. I will quickly run through this. And when we are talking about interdisciplinary research project, as you see, now here the boundaries between the disciplines are all dissolved. There are no boundaries between different disciplines. And whatever knowledge that is being developed, that is an integrated knowledge. And whatever new knowledge that we are developing, that will ultimately contribute to others as well. Then last one is the transdisciplinary research, and transdisciplinary research, as you see here, it is where the boundaries between the disciplines are also broken down or dissolved, and even the boundaries between the sectors, that is the academic and the non-academic, that boundaries are also broken down. And whatever new knowledge that is being developed, integrated knowledge is being developed, that is beneficial both for the society and for the academics, right? And this is one of the major implications or advantages of undergoing interdisciplinary research. I will just try to show you this small video. And I hope with that you will be able to better appreciate why interdisciplinary research is important. In case the audio you are not able to hear the sound, you can always read the subtitles. So I hope now you will be able to better appreciate why interdisciplinary research needs to be more focused upon. And because if you look around, whatever complex problems that we are having, all these problems, these are multidimensional, these are complex, and one discipline alone may not be able to provide solutions for these problems. Another important reason is why should we go for interdisciplinary research is that when researchers from different disciplines are collaborating, they are coming together, they spark more newer ideas and approaches which otherwise they might not have think about. And ultimately, this also enriches the quality of research also because each discipline brings with them their own methodologies, their own data sources, their own analytical tools, which makes your research more rigorous. And another, on a personal level, you will see that when we are working as a team member with other disciplines, we are able to uh, see a problem from another dimension, which we otherwise may not been able to see through. And the most important thing is when we are coming together as a multidisciplinary or interdisciplinary team, maybe multi-institutions also, it also increases the funding opportunities also. Because nowadays you see the government agencies, even the private foundations, they are ready to support for the research that suggests or finds answers for the complex societal challenges. So in the current times, you see, it is the need of the hour that we have to go ahead with the interdisciplinary and the multidisciplinary research. So with that, I would like then to end the session. And if you have any observations, any queries, if you want to share something, you can always unmute and share.
Thank you, ma'am. Yes, participants having any questions or queries? Anyone has any questions or the queries? Either we can sum up. Ma'am, I think we should conclude if you could permit.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. So on behalf of Manvi Mission Teacher Training Center, Sir Garge Baba Amravati University, Sandeep Institute of Technology and Research, massive. Now all the participants, I extend my sincere thanks to you, ma'am, for such a wonderful and insightful session towards this research and development, particularly the interdisciplinary transdisciplinary research in the now recent era. I once again extend my sincere thanks for your precious time and thought-provoking session here. And with the kind consent of Professor Suresh, ma'am, I would like to declare that today's session will be over here. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.